We moved here in 2000. I had practiced pediatric oncology at Vanderbilt, and I noticed that Austin was taking more naps. She fell a few times that was unexpected. And then she developed this bizarre left upper arm pain. And after about 3 or 4 episodes of that, I looked at my husband, I said, it's neuro pain. And about a week later, she projectile vomited across the room. And I knew she had increased intracranial pressure. So I went into a pediatrician's office at Cook Children's and very calmly said, I think she's got a brain tumor. She said, well, let's get a urine sample. She was dehydrated, and she said, at least it warrants an admission, and then we can get an MRI more expediently. We were handed an MRI report that said massive cystic astrocytoma, emergency, and I fell into Dan's arms. And I said, life will never be the same. She was operated on immediately.
She had a surgery for her tumor, which is a very complicated tumor, and a little bit of the tumor was left. And I know it's hard to believe. You're looking inside the skull, you'd think that the surgeon could tell whether he or she had removed all the tumor, but sometimes it's very hard to tell.
She kind of defied every odd. We went home and we were so thankful. And in 2002, she was out on the soccer field and she had a full-blown seizure. Coach picked her up, brought her to me, and I called David Donahue on the phone. I said, it's back. I know it's back. They arranged for an emergency MRI, and we got a call the next day that, in fact, her cystic astrocytoma had regrown out of its original tumor bed on her motor cortex.
And Dr. Donahue said, I can get the tumor, but I may have to take margins around the tumor to ensure that I've got it all, and it could cut through her motor cortex, which will leave her paralyzed on the left side of her body for the rest of her life.
And we knew about some technology in the West Coast where they were beginning to operate on patients and actually get MRI scans during surgery to be able to tell how much of the tumor they took out. Now, it wasn't just that Cooks didn't have the machine. It was a very rare thing for anybody to have. It was a very new technology.
Dan had entertained for Dr. Donald Becker, who had pioneered intraoperative MRI. He's an adult neurosurgeon, but he had offered his services if we ever needed them.
And I give David Donahue total credit. When I told him that I knew Dr. Donald Becker at UCLA, he said, I've given up one other case in my whole career as a neurosurgeon, but if he will operate on her, you take her there. And we did.
So we flew to UCLA and they did a neurosurgery that was over 10 hours. Dr. Donald Becker, one of the finest neurosurgeons in the world, would think that he got the whole brain tumor, and then they would scan her, and in fact there was remnant tumor. The whole case for using the IMRI to ensure getting the whole tumor was really case in point with Austin. We were at UCLA for several weeks in the intensive care unit, and from that day forward she has never had another seizure, and she never had to have chemotherapy. And I'll never forget when Dr. Murray saw her for her very last appointment. She looked at him and she said, you mean I don't ever have to come back, ever? And he said, you never have to come back. You know, it was really a nightmare that started when she was 6, and she was a young adult, and we're so thankful, so thankful.
She went on to excel in volleyball and academics and got a full ride scholarship, played college volleyball, and it's a miracle, and we're so grateful for everything they've done.
I am extremely thankful that my story took place here and that I was able to have the doctors and the nurses that I did, and we're just extremely thankful for Cook Children's.
So when Austin was finally home, the dust had settled a little bit. My wife, Carol, and I were talking one night.
And he looked at me and said, what about the family that has no idea there's something else out there for their child? He said, we need to bring this to Cook Children's Medical Center. He called a meeting with the development office and shared our vision. And really, Cook Children's took the ball from there.
The campaign is called Refuse to Lose because Austin being competitive as she is, and we just said this is our charge. We're going to refuse to lose. The most powerful thing for us, or for any family who has a desire to use their story in a way that's going to benefit other kids, is simply to tell the story. We just kind of grassroots approach. The kids had lemonade stands.
Me and all of my friends at school would walk around with these little bags of purple rubber bands that said "refuse to lose" and sell them to people. And then at school we also did this like change jar, and the kids could come like bring their pennies and their quarters or whatever and put it in the change jar. And just little things that were so fun.
This family was a musical family, and they had a night for raising money for the IMRI. And I remember sitting in the back and these little children, the Roberts kids, running around with cups to get money. That is amazing. So from little to big, the generosity has been phenomenal.
We were at about 250,000, and that seemed like a lot, and it is. But I thought, boy, that's a long ways away from 4.5 million. So I got the idea one night to call my friend Garth Brooks. He's meant so much to us in this campaign. And I told him that I had an idea of going to the Bass Hall and him coming down and selling tickets for a ridiculous amount of money and to raise money for the IMRI, and he agreed to do it. We were at 1.85 million the night of the show, and that really just catapulted the whole campaign, fundraising, and it was quite a journey. I love to hear the stories of the kids that they're operating on and the procedures that have come about. What the community of Fort Worth has done with their generosity has impacted children literally all over the world.
And not only is it good for tumors, it's also good for any operation of the brain where you're trying to remove something that doesn't belong there. So we really couldn't be doing the epilepsy surgery we're doing as well as we're doing it without that.
When we first got the IMRI, there was no real thought about doing deep brain stimulation in an IMRI center. It's really been life-changing for the children, and we would not be able to do this without very generous donors.
We are using our IMRI more and more for a lot of our stereotactic procedures, not only for DBS, but when we do our laser ablations, we're also using it for biopsies and so forth, and it's been valuable in those operations.
It's been incredible to just see the extent of how generosity can heal people and make a huge impact on their life.
This has got to be one of the most special children's facilities in the world.
I think generosity heals. So I'm very thankful for every single child that has had the privilege of having an intraoperative MRI, and every family that has been given hope and given their child back, like ours.